Welcome to Leading the Charge. We are just getting our show started the second half an hour. We just did the first half an hour on television. We will be doing the second half an hour both on television.
Howard.
Oh, yeah. Is this live? Okay, not live. Oh, my God.
Here's
you
the
scared
open.
the bejesus out of me there, Ben.
Oh, that's not the open. I thought it was
Julia, can we get that breaking news into the end of this block? Is that possible?
Excuse me.
Can we get the breaking news in the end of this block? Is that possible? All right, cool. All right, thank you. Let me know in the IFB if we have it, if that's cool. All right, 15 seconds, everybody. If you were watching on StreamYard, we will be right back on here.
Yes.
Welcome back to another episode of Leading the Charge. If you are sticking with us on television, thanks for joining us again. If you are joining us online, hi, hello. Let's send your questions in. Tell us where you're watching from. We'll try and get to as many in the second half an hour as we can as we talk about what happened yesterday. How concerned? Where's our level? 1 to 10. 1 is like no reason to be concerned at all. They're the best team in football. 10 being, oh, they're done. They're flawed. Give me a number.
That's quite the scale.
It is. That's a good range.
You know how my brain works.
Yeah,
that's where it is.
You're all or nothing.
I'm all or nothing.
All
baby.
the time.
All or nothing. All the time.
You're like O-Town. I'll 2.8.
Oh, so you're. Oh, wow. I thought that number would be higher.
No, I'm not. It's game 4.
Yeah.
I am Mr. Don't overreact to just about anything in wins and or losses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the goodwill that they put together through the first 3 wins, specifically on the offensive side, should not just be thrown to the side just because they only scored 10 points against the Baltimore Ravens in week 4. There have been times throughout Sean McDermott's tenure where they have gone in and just had games like this. And he's a really good coach within the confines of a regular season to be able to get them out of the funk that they're in. So I don't have any concerns about the offensive side of things because I still think the offensive line is really good. I still think Josh Allen is playing at a really high level. I think the running game is better than they've had it in quite some time. I do have questions about the receiver room, but outside of that, I think the offense will be able to help lift them up. Where I do have concern, which is where I've always had concern, and I'm a broken record since July, the defense, specifically at safety. I mean, that to me is the highest level of concern. But you know what hides a poor defensive weakness? A really good quarterback. Yeah. So that's why I don't think I'm that I'm all that up.
Or a pass rush can help your safeties out too.
Yeah, sure.
But definitely. So Lloyd Taco Factory, they pulled the rest of my hair out last night. I'm assuming that's the person running the Lloyd account and not the tacos.
That was me.
A taco is typing.
The taco is typing, which is just unbelievable. So just so you know, he said 2.8. So if you say anything higher than that, you get the torch as the most negative guy on this desk.
Well, actually, first off, they're not the best team in football. Your one end of the range was don't panic. They're fine. They're the best team in football. They're not. But I think Joe's right. I would have said 3, but since Joe already took 2.8, I'll go 4.7.
Wow, you're pretty much.
What is this, a Richter scale thing?
You're getting close to doubling me. You're almost halfway there to.
Well, I didn't want to be at 3 because that's just copying you. I like to be original when I can.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. I'm really not. I mean, I think honestly, maybe we should be less freaking out over last night and more. Maybe you should have dialed it down after 3-0. And I'm in there too. I mean, I got a little carried away with the route of Jacksonville because I didn't think they'd beat them that badly. But yeah, it's fine, Matt. Calm down. I know you're always a guy that freaks out, so I need to talk Matt off the ledge.
I'm good.
I know.
I'm good.
Don't panic. Like I said, I really mean this. Talk to me in 2 weeks. Really, the next 2 games are really big for this team.
They're huge.
They're really big. Just at least split the next 2 games. And no matter how bad you lost last night, if you split the next 2 games, you're in no worse than a tie for first in the division.
Believe it or not, not like a body language expert or anything like that as I slouch myself over this desk here. Joe and I talked about this a little bit after the game last night in the press conference room. There's a couple different comments here, Bryce, Rob, saying that there's no reason to panic. During that press conference with Josh Allen after the game, we have seen that man come to the podium just down. and depressed and like he just went through a battle and lost.
Usually when Ken Dorsey was the offensive
Yeah.
coordinator.
Last night they lost by 25 points. Their worst game that they lost in 3 years. And he walked in and was like, we played bad against a good team and we will fix it. And I'm glad that it happened now. Some people might not like that approach. Some people might not be like, I want my quarterback to just live and die with everyone.
Fine.
I think that sends a message of like, we did not play to our standard and we deserved to lose this game, which I truly think he feels. And I think that told me more than maybe even the game itself.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to let this avalanche.
No, you don't want. Why freak out in the 4th game of the season? I don't need my quarterback that wound so tight that he would go freak out at everybody after one bad game. They were 3-0, so just chill. Everybody chill.
Let's say you break this. Let's say
We're
you're
going to do another 1 to 10.
No. I'm just
I
saying.
like that.
But we will use numbers. A lot of people, when the schedule was 16 games, they always broke the schedule down into quarters.
Yep.
And you would say, okay, you got to go at least 2-2 or 3-1 in all these quarters of the season. For the sake of the conversation, let's give them an extra loss. If they go 3-1 for every quarter of the season and have another loss mixed in, we're talking about a 12-5 football team.
Right.
Which is probably better than most of us thought going into the season. It is about to get harder for the next couple weeks, but I also am not sold on the division right now.
Right.
I think we have no idea what's going to happen with the Dolphins. I know they're about to play a game. The Jets scored. It was raining.
It was
but
bad, really bad weather.
You got Breece Hall, though, and you're going against the Broncos, and
you're
at home.
I will say the Broncos defense is legit.
Yeah, sure.
But they made. I mean, the Jets offense.
They didn't score a touchdown.
Terrible.
I agree, but the Broncos also held their previous opponent to very low point total as well.
Okay. Frank just asked this question, Frank Z, and it's one we've talked about a lot. Will the Bills bring Hyde back to help at safety? We will end the first segment with this, and then we'll get to other stuff. Can I answer this first?
Sure.
It is not a matter in my head of when or if, but when. I am convinced that he is playing for this team this year. He is better than the other players that they have already right now with injury questions in no training camp, in no practice. He would be the best option that they have currently. Do we think he's coming back?
Does he want to come back? Don't you think it's really what Michael wants to do?
Well,
the Bills would take him back, but does he want to come back and play?
He would have retired by now if he wasn't still thinking about it. And the longer it goes, then
so he wants to come back and play for a small number of games.
Just getting to know him over the years, this is a guy who is either all the way in or he's closing it off. And you could tell right at the end of last season, he was like, I don't know if I'm coming back, but the longer this thing gets dragged out, it just means to me that he's like, all right, I'm watching football every single week. I see everything that's happening. He sees Josh Allen dealing the way that he is. He sees the Bills in a good spot. If they're in a really good potential playoff contention, let's say, I don't know, November, heading into December, absolutely. I think it's within the realm of possibilities, but you also want him to be smart about it because it's a neck injury.
Yeah.
He's been dealing with it for a lot of years. If it were me, and I'm not a professional athlete, obviously, but if it were me, I would probably want to minimize the amount of times I would contact.
Yeah.
But also if I was in his shoes, want to be able to come back and have one final go round to try and win a Super Bowl.
All right. Lori just asked the question about Tyler Bass. We will talk about this coming up on the other side of the break on television. We will get to that conversation. We'll continue the conversation during the commercial, but we will get to that question specifically coming up on the other side. All right, Lori, we will get to your question coming up shortly. Different.
Will Levis just threw in a pick to a defensive lineman.
Done with these
Are you kidding?
Night, so.
Will Levis, if you're watching this, just
Will
threw an
Levis show
interception
continues.
to a defensive lineman. That guy is just
I can't wait to see this.
unbelievable.
What was he doing?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Nope.
Oh, my goodness.
We're streaming, so I don't know. Yeah. Taylor Rapp received a concussion.
In the second half hour, we don't get.
Yes,
he and I don't
John,
get
to your question.
Thank
It's
you.
not a question, but that's a statement. So, Joe, Taylor Rapp concussion. What do you think? They just roll with Cole Bishop and DeMar Hamlin this week?
It'll be Cole Bishop and DeMar Hamlin, if I had to guess. And I would anticipate that Bishop would play free safety and DeMar Hamlin play mostly strong safety. Maybe they go split safety a bunch. and go with the 2 high. It really depends on if Bernard and Johnson are available. But yeah, I think that's probably the plan.
Here's a question from Twitter, or whatever, X these days. This is from Kyle Simonelli. Curious your thoughts on the Dalton Kincaid and Knox usage over a year into this 2 tight end experience. Seems as if we aren't using them at all the way we envision to create mismatches, and we aren't even trying to get either of them down the field. That's something we talked about a little bit with your final thought.
Yeah, I think the Kincaid usage needs to be up. If it's me, I'm having him on the field more often than not. I'm having Dawson Knox filter in here and there whenever Dalton Kincaid needs a rest or a snap or 2 off. But for the most part, I would go all Kincaid, except when they're going in 12 personnel where you have Kincaid and Knox. The only thing that's bad about Kincaid, though, I mean, we talk about his receiving all the time. He is not a good blocker. Like it's a struggle for him anytime he tries.
Is the best personnel grouping the 3 wide receivers with Kincaid then out there with them?
Probably, yeah. But who's your third receiver?
That's a big issue. So it's Coleman, Shakir, and Samuel.
Then
nobody blocks.
They have it.
If you have Kincaid,
Hollins.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Right, because if you have Kincaid,
right,
you'd almost have to have Hollins to help your blocking.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's interesting is I'm just looking at like potential trade target things.
Coleman's also a good blocker too.
I've started to think about it a little bit, and as you tell me that Will Levis throws another interception to a
they should go trade
lineman,
for Will Levis.
Yes, DeAndre Hopkins would make sense, right? Like he's kind of the perfect guy on an expiring contract that's not going to completely kill your finances. I don't know how much he has left in the tank.
He's 32.
He's 32. He's
up there.
He is, but this is just for the rest of the year. And it's not going to cost you a ton.
Isn't Kansas City going to go try and trade for a receiver?
Well, Devontae Adams is probably going to want to go somewhere. Amari Cooper might be someone that's potentially
15 seconds. We're going to talk about Tyler Bass.
Their season's going south. I hope Will Levis still plays against the Bills.
Welcome back, everyone. So we were having the conversation about receivers the Bills could trade for during the commercial break, but I want to get back to Lori's question that she specifically asked, because I think there's a lot of people wondering the same thing about Tyler Bass. And the comment is just, let's talk about Tyler Bass. Okay, Lori, we will. I think this week they have to be working out kickers. They absolutely have to be. Am I getting ahead of myself?
Is that me?
Sure.
You should always work out kickers. Why not? You never know. A kicker, I feel like, I mean, he hit the 50-yarder dead middle. He crushed the 50-yarder. Now, conversely, on the angle from behind the kicker, the minute he hit the 48-yarder, you knew it was going left. So I'm not looking to move Tyler Bass this week, but I honestly think with him right now, he's probably on a week-by-week basis. This is not the week I would make a move just yet. You should work out kickers. You should always have a ready list for a kicker.
What do you think?
I don't think they're going to get to the point of bringing on a practice squad kicker until it gets to a point where he misses a kick in a big spot.
I mean, but do you?
I get it.
Well, you'd like not to get to that spot.
I would say this is about not letting that even happen.
I don't think you make the move right now.
I totally understand where you're coming from, and I would argue the same. But I think just on their relationship with Tyler Bass and supporting him the way that they have and believing in him with the lucrative contract that they handed to him.
Sure.
If they were to bring in a practice squad kicker right now, that might zap him of all his confidence.
Again, you don't have to bring a practice squad kicker in. You have your tryouts. You know,
but you already got it.
But whatever. As long as you got a guy on speed dial, if you really think, oh my God, he's now killing us, we got to get rid of him. Honestly, I don't think he's at that point in my mind. But like Joe's right. I mean, there has not been a game coming down to a Tyler Bass kick yet. I would not move him out right now, Matt. I think he'll be okay eventually. Yeah. But of course, you better have somebody on speed dial if this thing goes south fast.
They already worked out 2 kickers.
Then fine. Then that's all. That's all you need to do. You do not need to put anybody on the practice squad. If he's bad and you cut him, go sign a kicker.
My thing is just, what's it going to take? I mean, I believe I read the stat right. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. He's one of 6 kickers in the league that has missed 2 field goals this year, and he's one of 2 who has missed 2 field goals less than 50 yards. So it's not like he is an elite company as far as production is concerned. He's 6 for 8 right now in the year. That is not good enough. We said he needed to be better than what he was last year. I know the sample size is small, but he is right now worse than he was last year. So they've got something that they need to figure out there. All right, this is not football news, but we did want to get this in the show just to mention it. TMZ is reporting that baseball legend Pete Rose has died. He was 83 years old. ABC News, I do not know if they have confirmed that yet, but we wanted to get that news to you because obviously a very well-known figure in sports, but Pete Rose, according to TMZ, has passed away at 83 years old. We will continue the football conversation during the commercial break, and we will be right back on the other side on the TV side of things. All right, so Tyler Huntley fumbles at the Tennessee 32, recovered by the Tennessee Titans. Titans ball 0-0. If you were a betting person, would probably think you wanted the under in that game.
The total on the game was like 37.
It was like 37 and a half. It was a preseason game, basically. Will Levis against Tyler Huntley is just exceptionally good.
Respect on Snoop Huntley's name.
Nobody asked this question specifically, but, I mean, it was good. Wide receivers. Who do you think goes where? What guys get traded? I'm not going to say the name here. I keep getting feelers out there about Amari Cooper in a certain fantasy league that we play in together. But I'm holding on to him because I think there's like a very legitimate chance he ends up on a good team. Right?
Yeah. That could be the case. I think he's in the final year of his deal.
They gave him a bunch of money, but kept him for this year, basically.
Right. And their season's kind of going south. They just started the practice window for Nick Chubb, so maybe they'll want to see how that goes before
0-4 in that division, or excuse me, 1-3 in that division.
1-3.
Good luck.
Yeah. So Devontae Adams is out there from the Raiders, and he hasn't exactly been enthralled with how things have started.
I feel like Devontae Adams is hurt until he's not hurt.
Yeah.
Right?
That could be the case.
It's like he's got a hamstring injury, but he's expected to miss some time. I mean, if you watch the Receiver Show on Netflix, like that feels like a guy who wants to try and go win, and they are certainly not doing that right now. Of all of the guys who are out there,
read this right for me.
I would also say
that's Cooper's base for this year.
That's his base. He got a bunch of
but if you trade for him, you're only on the hook for the base, right?
So
you wouldn't be on the hook for proration.
Correct.
They're looking at
1.2 base.
I need to look at it.
They're looking at Amari Cooper's numbers. Of all of the guys we said, who would be the best fit for the Bills? Like if you could say, just take any of them and put them on this team, understanding
it would need to be someone who could play the Z because Keon Coleman is going to play the X no matter what. I could see Hopkins doing that.
I was going to say that sounds like DeAndre Hopkins to me.
I could see Hopkins doing that. I could see Adams doing that, honestly. But Adams' contract is a little bit more prohibitive.
He's got a base of 1.2.
Yeah. I mean, Devontae Adams, better player, younger player, still an elite player in the league.
Devontae Adams, I think he might be the same age as DeAndre Hopkins, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought Hopkins was like 32 and Adams was like 30. I think Adams is the same age as Stephon Diggs.
He's 31.
Okay. How old's Amari Cooper? He's been around forever.
I think he's 30.
He's 30. I mean, any of them would make sense. Devontae Adams wants to play with the Jets and team up with Rodgers again, is what Rob says. If they figure things out offensively. Also, Mike Williams has been sneaky better for them, so I don't exactly know if they need to go out and add a receiver right now. Okay, we're going to be right back on the other side of TV.
Ooh, Hopkins, 8.2 base. Cooper's a lot cheaper.
You can dumb it down.
Yeah, and they're both rentals.
Welcome back, everyone. This is a good question from Patty, and she just asks, why is Knox not being used? Now, we talked a little bit in one of the commercials about Dalton Kincaid. Do you think that this is just more of a, hey, Dalton Kincaid is the more effective, explosive player right now, or they just don't love the 12 personnel layout that they've got?
Dawson Knox is getting over 50% of snaps.
I think it's more of
receiving.
He's not catching
targets and catches.
I'm not saying he should be. I'm not saying force the ball, but I think Patty's question is not, he's on the field 50% of the time. Yeah. It's he has a catch, maybe a game.
That's not his function in the offense anymore.
Yeah,
is the true answer. He is a versatile. He does a lot of the dirty work for the offense, and so they really hold him in high regard over in Orchard Park. But having him be the first read is just not his game anymore. I mean, they have three receivers ahead of him, that being Shakir, Coleman, and Kincaid. And
Cook.
Cook. Yes.
Other options in the whole.
Absolutely.
Like Knox is no better than the fifth option right now. If you put together a chart, he's no higher than fifth in terms of a target chart.
Yeah, he might be fourth when he's out there with like a Mac Hollins. So I get because he was a big time player for them, but Kincaid's just a better receiver. He's just more natural at it. And Knox is out there a bunch. But like you said, the 12 personnel thing, they only go to that for certain matchups, only certain times in a game. It's not a high percentage look like it used to be under Ken Dorsey.
This is a comment from Lee, not necessarily a question from Facebook, personal opinion. I feel like we need a true wideout. Feels like we have 5 slot receivers. I mean, it's kind of what we were talking about during the commercial break. It's like, well, you've got Khalil Shakir, you've got Curtis Samuel, but I think they might need somebody who could provide them a little bit more on the outside. They took a chance with MVS that has not worked out. I mean, Keon Coleman is still developing. Mac Hollins is not getting separation.
They only have 2 receivers that are slot receivers.
It's Shakir and Samuel. Yeah. It's just they don't have an absolute explosive
There's no
player.
go-to guy that you know
On the
is
outside.
your guy on the outside.
Yeah.
Oh, they traded one away.
Yeah, they did trade one away.
Really?
Apparently, they're getting ready to play against that guy. Okay, we've got a little bit more time, so we are going to toss to break now. We'll continue the conversation during the commercial, and then we will finish things up coming up.
You're funny.
Well,
all right, some comments from we got a ton of
I
people.
know,
We got a ton of people watching us right now. This is, you know, what's funny is we posted it on Twitter. And I never knew that we were posting it on Twitter, so I just retweeted it. So I'm thinking that like a lot of people who follow us on Twitter are now seeing the link to this, which is cool. Mick says, Joe saying Josh was dejected more after games with Dorsey made me smile and remember Dorsey is now in Cleveland, which I think is a pretty good comment. Anthony says Howard needs to be back on the radio. Mornings are not the same.
I don't care. They're fine for me.
I bet they're great. This
you not
person's
having to wake up at 3 anymore is pretty good.
It's one game is a comment. Expletive relax. I think that all 3 of us said on a scale of 1 to 10, 2.8, 3,
4.7.
and
I
like
said 4.7.
Because he said 2.8.
4.7. And like
4.7.
none of us, I think, are really that concerned about the team. I don't think that we think that this is going to be a massive, like, oh wow, they're super flawed. I said it a little
You
bit.
could lose Sunday too.
I said it in the first half hour. It was a short week. You are incredibly banged up on defense. You went into a place where the Ravens have been the best team in the NFL on primetime football at home, and a really good quarterback and team,
And they were
bullied you around.
And they were wearing their all black.
And they were wearing the very,
very intimidating.
Those are spicy.
for the Bills this week, this is not important, but like we got to ditch the blue pants. The all white look is so much cleaner than the white and the blue, personally.
I don't care.
When are they going all red?
You just made the comment about the black jerseys.
I know because they're awesome.
spicy.
Yeah, but the all white Bills jerseys look great too. You don't think so?
All red.
I'm
Color
no.
rush.
Ew, ew.
Oh, come on.
Take Dell's playing, by the way. Expected to play.
Yeah, I did see that. All right, 10 seconds. We're
That's
coming
not
back.
good. Is that Diggs guy playing?
Who?
Someone named Diggs. There's a receiver on there.
I think it might be.
Breaking news. Did you know that the Houston Texans have a receiver on their team named Stephon Diggs?
Diggs. Let
Did
me
you
look
hear
that
about
up.
this? Young player.
There's a Diggs who
emerging
plays
in the
quarterback
NFL.
in the league.
Yeah. I think that he's related to that guy somehow. What are we thinking about the Texans game? We can shift our focus for the last segment here. A couple people asking about the Texans, how we think that they're going to do. Richard says, should we be worried about our defense against the Texans?
Yes.
Yes, you should.
Yes.
But what do you think about the Texans just in general?
I think the Texans are where the Bills were a few years ago when Josh Allen was on his rookie deal.
Yeah.
And they were able to invest in a lot of other positions pretty significantly, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. The Texans have really done a lot of nice things there. And, of course, they have the receiver core.
Yeah.
They went out and they got Joe Mixon, who I think has a chance to play.
He's going to be back. I think he's going to be back. Tank Dell are both going to be back. 2 big weapons for them coming back.
Yeah. So, and then CJ Stroud is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, their secondary is going to be tested in a way that they haven't just yet. And the guy that I'm keeping my eye on more than most is Rasul Douglas, because I think Douglas has been solid this year. I don't think he's been as good as he was last year. Christian Benford, to me, has been awesome every single game. But Douglas, to me, matched up one-on-one, I want to see how he does, whether it's against Nico Collins. Nico Collins, if you don't know about Nico Collins,
NFL and receiving,
you need to know about Nico Collins. This dude is awesome.
Yeah,
I was completely wrong about him coming out of college. He is legit.
This is why you should be really worried about this game, because of what he just ripped off. All these weapons they have, the skill talent around, and the quarterback are really good. I would be very worried about this game. I don't feel good about this matchup. I feel much better about them playing the Jets in 2 weeks. I don't like, based on their chances, based on what I saw in Baltimore, We'll see what happens with Bernard. Maybe he's a little closer than Taron Johnson.
Yeah, it seems that
Either way, I think they got a better shot in New York against the Jets.
Once again, this is just speculation, but kind of an educated guess. I think Terrell Bernard plays this week based off of the practicing that he got in last week, the way even Sean McDermott talked about it this week. Joe talked to Taron Johnson for an update last week. Taron says he wants to play, but they're not going to let him out there a week earlier than they think he should. So they're getting healthier, but so are the Texans. And Joe Mixon looked really good before he got injured. And Tank Dell is another really solid option for them. So it's a tough matchup.
And hopefully Shakir's okay. Right?
Yes, exactly.
And Tank Dell.
Gotta go.
I know. Tank Dell 50 was this close to a 50-yard touchdown reception. Watch out, safeties.
Okay. That is Joe Biscaglia.
Kill me, Joe.
That is Howard Simon. Howard Simon's Mets are going
Let's
to the playoffs.
go Mets.
Have a great night, everyone.
You're killing me, Joe.
I know. Mason Rudolph's in the game.
Oh my God.
Wait, what?
Really?
Will Levis got hurt.
Will Levis got
okay. I
hurt.
thought they pulled him.
Well, they
Heck yes.
but
Thank you,
that
everyone.
would've been
Thank you for
fast.
watching. Julia in the
Mason
control room just
Rudolph.
told me that I think, set a new personal best
Woo!
for how many people were watching this. So
That's awesome.
good job, everybody. They're getting up and leaving.
We
Watch
don't like
next
Matt.
week. What?
Next time, if you're going to tweet it out, let me know so I can read.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.
I do.
Thank you for watching. We might still be up, so don't say anything crazy for at least a couple seconds.
I did not.
Julia just told us in the last couple